Hello, my name is George Moore, owner of Moore's Sewing Center in Southern California, and I'm excited that we're here to start our free motion quilting clinic. Quilting has just blossomed, and people are really enjoying the art of quilting, and that starts from obviously picking out fabric and having an idea and putting colors together, and then piecing. Okay, but the next step is free motion, and that's where a lot of people they either get frustrated and they don't have any fun, so they don't continue. But there's some fundamental skills that will help you free motion on your household, your standard machine, and that's what we're here to talk about. And I'm going to be working with the Grace Company, and the Grace Company are makers of all kinds of quilting products, frames, machines, accessories that really have been found to help you in your quilting journey. And so I know that we have got a lot to cover today, and so we're going to go ahead and bring in our two reps from the Grace Company. We've got Jana and Melinda, so let's go ahead and bring those in. Okay, there we go.
Hi, George. Right. How are you?
Hi, George.
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited. We've been waiting to do this event, and I know you have a lot to go over. So yeah. What do you have for our customers today, our guests?
Well, we are so excited. Thank you so much for having us and everybody in More Sewing world. I mean, we're so excited to talk to everybody. If at any point what we're going over, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe always for More Sewing so you can be up to date on all the things that they're working on. And we are going to be talking about, first, we're going to show a video from our head educator, Carla Jerome, about free motion quilting. She does a fantastic job, whether you have a domestic machine or a mid-arm. We're going to go over that. And then afterwards, we're going to come back and do a Q&A for anybody that had any questions. If you have questions for George or for us, we'll go through that. And then next, we're going to be doing a video on how to quilt on our new Cutie tabletop frame.
That's an incredible product.
It is so much fun. Yeah, we have had so much fun with the Cutie. Now, we just want to clarify, when we have this video, it was filmed during COVID. So the people filming it have masks on, but they're okay. It was just during COVID. We were being precautionary. But then we're going to talk about some of our unique machines. And so it's so exciting for all the things that we're going to be talking about today.
Now, I want to do a shout out to Carla. I've known Carla for a long time. And I tell you, anytime you need an answer, she has it. She has it. So I know that people will recognize her. She's a wonderful, very, very knowledgeable about quilting.
Yes.
Yes. She loves quilting all the way back. The Grace Company, we've been around for 35 years. Her quilting journey began long before that with her mother, and she's amazing. She loves to quilt. She loves our products and new products, and she's helped get the Grace Company where we are today. So It's very evident.
Yeah.
So
and then of course. I'm sorry. We were going to say we're going to give away some
That's what I know my customers, and they're going, okay, it's been X amount of time. Where's the giveaway? So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. So we are going to do 3 different giveaways, and I'm going to pop these up on the screen so everybody can see what we're giving away today and through the week. So what we need you to do is to comment, like, and share. And then from those comments, George and his team will gather everybody up and then get those sent out as a random from everybody that's commenting. So we want you to stay with us and comment through the whole thing.
Yes.
And I like the shares too, because that way you're sharing to someone else that may be not aware of these wonderful products.
Exactly. So we have the 10-foot luminous light bar. This light bar is fantastic. It gives you a true color match system. It's going to be an LED. So in your sewing room, your craft room, wherever, you're going to have that opportunity to just lighten it up so much better. One of my favorite things about the luminous light bar it's a 10-foot. So it will actually go from the 5-foot size. You can do an 8-foot size. Yes. You can do 10-foot. And then there's a little tiny screws at the top. You can actually expand it to 11 feet if you really need to.
Yes. And Jana and George, when you're sewing, when you're crafting, I'm going to say this again. I always say it. There's no such thing as too much light. So with the true color, the LEDs, it's a perfect combination to add to any sewing and crafting room.
Now, I always say this, there's going to be one winner, but I want everybody to be a winner. So we do have these on special on our website, and we're going to go ahead and post a link in the comments, both on
Excellent.
Facebook and YouTube, so they can click, and we have a special page that kind of funnels all the Grace information down. So, and if you buy it and if you end up winning it, well, then we'll refund it. You got it free. So that's a good thing, right?
Exactly.
Or they can give it, you know, it's the giving season coming up. Happy
Ah.
holidays. It's a perfect gift.
I like
you can't
regifting.
be free.
Regifting's okay, right? Regifting.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're also giving away later this week. We'll be doing the Quilters Combo. This is an introduction to our True Cut system. It's the 6.5 by 24.5 inch ruler, the Comfort Cutter, and the True Grips, which you can use not just only on the rulers, but you can use it on anything that you want to not have sliding
Any
anywhere.
slidage, yes.
Carla gave us a great tip recently. She puts the True Grips on the bottom of her foot pedal when she's quilting, so that it doesn't slide when she's on a not carpet surface.
Yep.
So that's another great tip for those True Grips. And then finally, the grand prize is going to be a Cutie frame with bungee clips that help hold the fabric and the side tension, and an 8-pack of finesse thread. And that's going to be 4 solid and 4 variegated threads. So it's a great starter pack, everything you need, minus the machine to get started, so you can go on your free motion quilting journey.
Yes. So I love the Cutie. It's so versatile. It's, you know, easy setup, easy to use and quilt your projects, but also again, easy storage. And it can be used with your domestic machines, your unique machines. You know, so if whether you're a new quilter and you just have your domestic machine at home, or you know, if you have a little bit more in your sewing room, it's a great addition to have for any sewing room, any craft room. Everybody's going to love it.
Perfect.
So we're going to get going with our first video, because we want to make sure we appreciate everybody's time. So again, this is Carla Jerome. She's talking about the fundamentals of free motion.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today I get to talk to you about something that I really enjoyed as a quilter, and that's free motion quilting. And I've done a lot of research, and I've been able to learn free motion quilting really on my own. Yes, there's some great quilters out there, and they have a lot of good advice, but a lot of new beginners don't know where to start or why it's important to do certain steps as you're free motion quilting. And they just bypass it because it becomes a little difficult, and they think that they're not artistic enough to do their own thing with the free motion quilting and drawing out designs. And so I just want to help you become more confident so that you are taking tips and techniques that I'm teaching to be able to go and give you the confidence and do your free motion quilting. So, doing my research, I had to think back of where I started, and I started quite a while ago. And so I have gotten better with my free motion quilting, and a lot of it comes from experience, and the way that you're able to sew across your quilt. Now, think back of when you first started sewing, or first started writing, or first started walking. You take baby steps, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the baby steps leading up to it. Now, when you start quilting, a lot of quilters think they want to be this fabulous quilter right out of the bat, and you're not, okay? Because the machine's a little smooth, and it's easy to make little wobbles in your designs. And even today, all the professional quilters are not perfect quilters. So allow yourself the learning curve. Just say, you know what? I've got to learn this and know that it can be learned. I mean, we all have to start somewhere in the quilting process. And so the first place I want you to start is practicing. And I want you to think about getting a doodle notebook. This notebook will help you come as a resource. It helps you practice drawing your designs, and that practicing as you're doodling is so important because it helps your memory retention as you come to the quilting frame. It allows you to remember which directions you need to move or how you want to draw the design. This doodling part of quilting is extremely important and something that if you're not doing, it's so much fun. If you're sitting in front of the TV or you're just sitting there talking on the phone, put your phone on speaker and start doodling and just practice your designs while you're talking, because then you're doing two things at once, and that even helps you even more because it helps you remember the direction that you're supposed to draw, but you're doing another exercise talking at the same time, so you're trying to focus on two different items, so it helps you to multitask. So those are great tips and tools. So if you have any free time, just sit down and doodle. No matter where you are, even if you're in the car just riding along, listening to the radio. If you're the passenger, don't do it while you're driving, okay? But if you're the passenger, just doodle away. And a lot of our phones have pens that we can doodle as well. So start a doodle notebook. And start with easy designs. When we first started our penmanship and writing, we started out with easy, simple little things. And with a lined notebook, it helps you work on your proportions as well. So I have my little doodle notebook that has the lined papers in it. And as I started doodling, some of the first easy designs are just little waves and loops. And just start using the alphabet, the cursive alphabet, not regular letters, but the cursive alphabet is a great resource for designs in quilting. So this is a small case L and a little E. And I've just did 2 lines to show how I did the L, but I did the single distance between the 2 lines as the E, and I just, mastered that. So, and then another one is like a U. So it's a curve and up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, the proportions on the lines really help you make it nice and even all the way across. So just to show you, and then as you're quilting, you can just do L's all the way across. Then you can add L and then an E, and then you can do the U's. You can make them a little smaller, but then you can start adding elements to it. So you can do a U with a circle underneath, and then you curve over the top, do a circle again, and then you move around and you do your circle again. Then you'll add a circle at the bottom of your U and then at the top of the U coming across the top. So the valley and hills, let's call them valley and hills. So you'll add a circle on the valley and then another circle on the hill. And so you'll just move across. And then as you're working on your designs, what you'll do now is that we're just making the distance a little longer using my lines. So instead of just 1, I'm using 4 so I'm doing my little circle on the hill. And this will help you work with your meandering and learn how to stipple. So if you'll practice, and then practice changing the direction of how you quilt, that also helps your memory. And also change the position of the design on your quilt. So this is just upside down, ease, And then I started doing upside down L's as well. So you can see that this would make a fun little element in a border or a sashing, doing the different directions. Now this is a capital L. It's just a nice loop coming back. And again, these lines help me keep my proportion of my design so that I have it proportionally correct. Now, it doesn't help with the distance, so if you're concerned about the distance in between, you could just measure going across like this and add little lines so that you can keep the distance correct and the circles correct. So there's lots of ways that you can practice your doodling. Now, this is a fun design as well. So this is just kind of a zigzag. It's so simple, but you wouldn't realize it. This is my start point right here. And I moved up at a diagonal to this line here. Okay, on my sheet of paper. So I went diagonal, then I went towards, if I was in front of it, it would have been the left, okay? So it's the right on me. So move to the left as you're sitting in front of it. And then you'll come back down to the diagonal and you'll move to the left again. And then you'll go back up and you'll just keep doing that all the way across. So you have this little fun design. That's a fun one to practice. And so challenge you to practice something new and a little different. Then, as you're doodling, another fun thing in your doodle notebook to also help you learn how to fill in different shapes. So I'm just using simple squares for my shape, but you could use a hexagon or a triangle and try different things. So just draw them in your notebook and practice with little filler designs. So this isn't even complicated at all. It's just a design that I did in the valley and the hills. It's a little longer, but I just went across, making them vertical, and then I came across and made them horizontals. So it just changes direction. And on a quilt, it's very pleasing to the eye to have the different directions because it draws your eyes different areas. So practice on that. Then notice that now I started in the corner with my valley and hills, and I went this direction. So now I probably leave these two blanks. So try different ways of quilting. You don't have to fill in every area, and sometimes that can become a little messy. And sometimes you need that little space that has nothing in it whatsoever, and that makes it more pleasing as you're looking at it. So sometimes when a quilt has too much on it, it's hard to notice and recognize all that beautiful quilting, and sometimes less is more. So just decide how you like to quilt and what you like. Doesn't matter what anybody else likes. If you like it, that's great. Okay, now the stippling. A lot of quilters think, wow, let me start with the stipple. Stippling is actually a little harder than you would think. So practice in your notebook and practice in little squares so you can get the puzzle movements down. And stippling is just curves like a puzzle piece and going in different directions to kind of make it look a little meandering across your page. So start in one corner. Don't lift your pencil, keep going. And you'll notice that where you get hung up in a corner, just make it a little smaller and then come out. All the puzzle pieces are not exactly the same little size. They have small ones and large ones. So it doesn't matter if you get caught in a little corner. Notice that I kind of did a little erasing. That some of them are a little smaller because I was getting closer to my corner right here. So I kind of got caught there, so I had to just make this a little smaller. So practice that. And you can even practice it with points or spirals. Now, this is a fun little spiral design. It teaches you the basic beginnings of a spiral because spirals are not that easy to start with. So what you'll do is you'll come in and bring it to a point and then come back out. And I just kind of made a little popcorn flower. And then you'll just come out and make 2 points. Just practice, practice, practice. And practice this all over your page. You know what? The more you do it, the better you'll become. So another simple design, I just wanted to show you about the spirals since we did the little popcorn, is this is a closed loop spiral. You can notice that as I come into it, I got it really close to the same loop and I echoed around it. This is an open spiral because they're not touching. This is a closed and this is open because this one here, I closed it because each of the spirals are touching the next one, and this is open because they're not even touching each other. So it's going to cover more area more quickly as you're quilting. This is going to take a little bit more time because it's a little denser and closer together. So just look at the proportions and what you like and how you want to quilt. Okay, and a couple other little tools that I think are valuable for you. As I was working on processes and ideas, start again. I want to remind you, if you're not confident with free motion quilting, start simple. You can make a beautiful quilt with simple, easy designs. This quilt right here, I wanted to show you. It's open spirals, but it kind of gives you that movement. So as we were looking in it, it looks more like tree. And also we added names in this because it made it fun. It's like when kids were smaller, I put their names in things so that they would look for it, and it keeps them engaged and excited about what we're quilting. So I added Charlie's name here. Okay. Now right here for the background, I did some stippling. And then for my flag, notice that I did the waves back and forth. And how much fun that is. Simple design. And then I did my stars. We all know how to draw stars. You just add stars and little loops to keep them going. And that's really it. Those are really, and then on the house here, we just kind of did some U's. But nothing complicated. But look how much fun the quilt is. And just from those simple, easy designs, boy, you can create beautiful quilts. And that's how we started out. Was just something simple. This is a really old quilt that I did a long time ago. Now, the quilt on the back wall is a little more complicated because I had more experience as I was quilting. Notice that in the sashing, I just did the loops. Simple, easy, but it's eye-catching. And in the center, I did the little X with some, it's a little feather X, if you want to call it. It's not really a wreath, but the back of the quilt is just as fun as the front of the quilt. So, and then I kind of took the feather design, with the little circle that I used in the sashing and the square, and added it to the border to keep it going. And the border was so easy to do. It's just a little paisley, a couple of them, and then a spiral. Nothing complicated, but I took some time and practiced before I started quilting. And I also positioned things off. My border, I sectioned it off to get my proportions correct. And your doodle notebook, as you're doodling and coming up with new ideas and new designs, is a great resource for you to look back on for your quilting. So the next thing I want you to do is get a piece of clear template plastic, okay? And you have a rougher side and a smoother side and a dry erase. And then this allows you to draw your designs on it, to see what designs you like. So I'm going to position this along my block here that I want to fill in what I'm going to do is kind of section it off here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I could start here in the corner, go like this. That kind of looks fun, a little different. And then you could just keep going. And then just keep going this way. So that's kind of fun and a little different. So you could do something like that. And then we could come down here to this smaller square right here and then see what the loops look like. And you know what? Sometimes those mistakes are happy mistakes. See, I'm talking, doing what I'm telling you, and not. So just take this template plastic. It's a fun way to see what your design will look like and if it's what you want on your quilt. Then once you've done that, I would suggest drawing it on a piece of paper and then unthreading your needle. And then I'll just draw my design. And you're not sewing the paper to it or anything, you're just seeing what it looks like. And you could pin your paper to it, but just make sure that you have the movements down. It kind of looks cool on the paper too. There you go. That's kind of fun. So try that and pin it down and practice your tracing on the paper. There's a couple of different ways that you can use this, but you know, try these techniques and use them and practice your free motion quilting before you jump in and actually start quilting. It will help you become more confident in your abilities, and it'll allow you to remember how your designs work and which position you need to move your sewing machine to get to the next design. Really important. So let's thread our machine, and I'm just going to come down here and do my little loops right now. And you can see that I've just drawn on my fabric the design. Now, there are some really good markers out there that are water soluble that you can draw on your quilt, but I haven't found the best one yet. Once I do, I will let you know. But for right now, just use the chalk because I do know that it comes out. And don't use too dark of a chalk, just very lightly. Use a pencil as well. The simple little designs are the best way to start. I'm going all the way to the top. And just start moving across. And have fun while you're doing it. You know, learning can be a fun process. Because you could be excited about what you're learning and that it's new and different. I don't want you to be the type of quilter that feels like you have to stitch in the ditch all the time because that's what you're good at. I want you to try new things and new elements and add new ways of quilting. Try new things. Be different. One other thing I wanted to show you, it's kind of pleasing to the eye if you're changing from a large to a small, to start with a large and end with a large. And it just makes it more pleasing to the eye because then you think, oh, they ran out of room or something like that. So just make sure that you start with a large and end with a large, or if you're starting with a small, end with a small. It works a little nicer and it's more pleasing to the eye. Just a couple more things as you're quilting. Just a few thoughts that I want to bring to your attention is as you're quilting, even free motion quilting, getting your quilt on nice and straight really does help it turn out more even and beautiful. If you put your quilt on uneven, it's going to look a little uneven and a little sloppy. So as you're putting your quilt, use your cloth leaders or make sure that your edges are nice and straight. It just makes a lot of difference as you're quilting. And it keeps it from moving up your quilt at an angle or down. So make sure that you have a straight line going across your quilt and that your edges of your top and your bottom are nice and straight. And if it's a piece top, make sure that you're positioning your top where you want that strip or wherever you want that block to be. So if you want to spray baste as you're positioning it, you can. I do not like to baste. It's something that I just don't want to do. So I'm very aware, because my backings are always piece, of where I want that center, if I want it centered or if I want it off to the side. Then the other thing is as you're quilting, just recognize that there are different size throats of machine. I'm using a 19-inch machine, so I have quite a distance I can travel, and I could make a larger design, one big, huge design. If you have a smaller throat, then the size of your design is going to have to be smaller and in proportion that you can quilt it without hitting the back of the machine. So as you're quilting along, if you have a smaller throat, then you're going to hit the back of the machine and it can mess up your design. So make sure that you know how far you can quilt without hitting the back of your machine. So I like to, with my chalk, just mark. So I'm not going to mark it down here past the foot. You're going to want to mark it up here before it hits. So I know that that's how far I can travel without hitting the back of my machine. And then if I hit the back of my machine, it's going to mess up my design and cause me to have a straight line because I'm hitting the back of it. So make sure that you do your markings as you're quilting along and that you're tacking down the edges of your quilt. If you happen to sew off the edge of your quilt as you're coming back onto it, I'm just going to show you right down here. It can fold over the edge of it, but also it can get caught between the needle and the foot, and you can sew your quilt block down in your foot, and then you're just going to have to cut it out. Or be really careful as you're unpicking it right there. So notice that this is extremely important and a lot of, one that I learned the hard way. So learn from me, okay? I do not like to unpick, but yet I made a big mess by not tacking down the edges of my quilt. And so ever since then, I've been very religious about tacking down the edges, even with free motion quilting. And even if you're quilting inside this area, it's a good rule of thumb to always tack down your quilt edges, because you never know if you're accidentally going to sew off the edge. So those are just a few rules and techniques. And I look forward to you joining me for part 2 of this, where I'm going to show you some accessories for free motion fundamentals that you can use to help ease you into that process. So join me next time. And please, look at the spring fling, look at all the beautiful quilts that are there. If you have quilts, enter them and join me again for our next free motion fundamentals part 2.
Wow. I found myself actually off camera practicing the free motion techniques. I'm really good at, I'm actually pretty good at stippling in a wave, but you know, some of those others I'm going, I think I need to go get a notebook. I'm sure you two have a notebook, do you? I don't hear them. I think your mic is not on.
They're muted.
Okay. If you can hear me, you're muted. So just so that you're aware of that. Are we good? No.
There should be unmuted now.
No, hey, Melinda and Jana, I think you're muted. You see it?
It says they're unmuted now.
Okay. We're having a little technical difficulties. We can't hear you.
I just sent them a chat.
Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you do this live. And I think if you can hear me, Melinda. Yes, okay, but I can't hear you when you talk. So it probably is on your end.
They said they're working on it.
Okay, they're working on it. Okay, good. So maybe what we can do is go to the next video while you're working on it. How's that? All right.
Welcome everyone, I'm Carla Jerome. This is Laurel, and I get to show Laurel how to use this fabulous little cutie frame. First of all, it's very easy to put together. It is a solid little frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate off the table. So no need to worry about what surface you're really doing it on. You just want the table to be nice and level. You could even use it on your countertop, in your RV. It's just such a nice portable frame. Now, Laurel, that you've put it together, just make sure that you can move the carriage side to side, front to back freely. After you've set your machine on the frame, the height of this pole Welcome everyone, I'm Carla Jerome. This is Laurel, and I get to show Laurel how to use this fabulous little cutie frame. First of all, it's very easy to put together. It is a solid little frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate off the table. So no need to worry about what surface you're really doing it on. You just want the table to be nice and level. You could even use it on your countertop, in your RV. It's just such a nice portable frame. Now, Laurel, that you've put it together, just make sure that you can move the carriage side to side, front to back freely. After you've set your machine on the frame, the height of this pole here is called a take-up pole because it takes up all your quilt after you've quilted. A good rule of thumb is to put your hand underneath with it laying flat, and you can tell it just barely hits, and so it's the perfect height right underneath here. So then, just coming and looking at this, you want to make sure that this pole, see how it kind of angles down just a little bit? Just make sure that it's even right underneath here. So to put your hand right across here and kind of tell.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the sewing machine. These right here, these are called feet dogs. They grab the fabric and kind of push it along as you're piecing or sewing. Okay. These need to be down so you have a smooth surface. Gotcha. To move your quilt through. The other thing is the foot that you use. You need an embroidery foot or a quilting foot, something that makes it easy for you to glide across. You just want a smooth foot that you can easily see. Then the other thing is bobbins. I like to wind several bobbins before I start so that I don't have to stop in the middle of it. So look at your project and decide how much quilting you want on it and kind of guesstimate how many bobbins. Let's talk about preparing our pieced quilt for quilting. If you're going to piece your back, just make sure that you've ironed it and pieced it correctly. So we're going to lay our piece backing, and I have gone and found my center of my backing, the top, and I've marked it with the pen, and the center with the bottom. So this will help me line up my batting. And I found the center of my batting as well, top and bottom. And I pinned it to my backing. And then I just pinned the sides. So now all I have to do is line up my pins, and I can just move it over and line it up. And that's all I have to do. Let's talk about leaders. I have a few inches on the top and a few inches on the bottom. The leaders are an extension of your fabric. If you don't have them, you will need to make your backing that much wider and that much longer. One leader, it's got cording in it to help you start rolling that up. You'll find the center of your leader. I'm going to just take my pencil here, or my pen, and just mark it. And I write a C for center. I'm just going to take my leader, and I'm going to line my backing up all of my pins, and I can take one pin and just pin straight across. And I'm just going to do that all the way across my top. And so we'll quickly do that. And the same thing that I do at the top, I'll do with the bottom. You'll just pin it straight across. And you'll always pin from the center out. And the reason is if you get a wrinkle or anything like that, you're pulling it from the center out so that you can adjust. Now this leader is quite a bit longer, and that's for your larger size quilts. So don't cut it down. It's not going to inhibit you in any way. It's just going to help you. You do the same thing with the bottom one, and the bottom one's even wider. So as you get to the end of your quilt, the leaders allow you to quilt all the way to the edge of your beautiful quilt that you've created. If you didn't have them, you'd have to cut a portion of it off because you couldn't sew because it'd be wrapped up over the pole. And I have a couple of sets because I get bored with my quilts, and so I like to jump from one project to another. So sometimes it's nice to have two sets. And with these frames, you can take them on and off and start on something new. We're going to slide our leader through the arm of our machine and adjust it to start quilting. We want to make sure we're putting our backing and our batting and everything under the foot. One thing I want you to notice, your carriage and your machine will only go so far before it hits the sides. So if you move your machine all the way to the side, you can notice that eventually your machine and your carriage will hit the side of the frame. And we don't want that to disrupt our quilting, okay? So I'm going to adjust my starting side out away so that as I'm starting, I'm not going to hit. I'm going to move it all the way down. But I want to make sure that I can quilt this edge, okay, without it hitting.
Okay.
And now we can start putting our clamps on. And you want to adjust it also so that you can start right on this edge. So you can pull the batting up just a little bit. And so bring your machine out where it's going to start. See, we have that much area. So let's pull it up just a tad more. And there we go.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll put my needle in the down position. So what I like to do now is make sure my back has no wrinkles in it.
Okay.
And so I like to just pull it. And then sometimes I'll baste across the top edge to hold my quilt in place as well. So we'll have you do that in just a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to now put on our two bottom clamps. Okay, and they go on a specific way. So you look at the name right here. This name has to be showing correctly, and we want to take these up off.
So facing you.
Yeah, facing you.
Cutie, like I said.
Yeah, so the cutie needs to be facing so you can read it, not upside down, okay? And as you clamp it on, and clamp it down. And it comes with two side clips, so you can put them on. And it comes with two side leaders also, so you could clamp that on and pin it so you get extra tension. And helps keep it nice and straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our quilt out, and we're going to start rolling it up. And you can look at your wrinkles on the back as you're rolling. I've got one right here. Just pull it out from the center out, just like you would on a rolling frame. And just keep rolling. Now we're just going to clamp it. Let's start rolling this on, and we can clamp this as well. And make sure you're counting all your little clamps, because if you leave one undone, you'll notice it and feel it. Okay. With this frame, you can sit or stand. If you're using a machine that requires a foot pedal, you will want to sit. So I'm going to have you sit down. You want to make sure that your machine is threaded correctly. And so make sure that you have the thread pulled through your tension knob and through the spring so that you get that tension. But right now, you can tell that as I pull this, how easy it is to pull.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
because your presser foot, which is this foot right here, and this is the presser foot lever, isn't down. Once I put the presser foot down, you can feel that tension. And so you need to remember to put the presser foot down. Otherwise, you're going to have really loose tension, and your thread's going to look like shag carpet underneath, and you don't want that. Once you have the presser foot down, you want to make sure that you bring your bottom thread up. So find the needle up, needle down button on your machine, and it'll go down, and then push it one more time, and it brings the needle back up. Now, if you'll just barely move your machine away, see how it's going to pull up that bottom thread?
Okay. Yeah, the loop.
So that you don't have any of those thread tails underneath, okay?
Okay.
So you just pull that up. One other thing I want to point out is we want to tack down the edges of our quilt, just in case we sew off the edge. Notice that my foot is underneath my quilt, so if I sew off the edge and I start coming back, it's going to grab that quilt and make a wrinkle in it, and it can even tear your quilt. So what we're going to do is move the machine down as far as we can. I'm going to lift up the presser foot just a little bit, put it on that wide area right there, because it doesn't matter how straight it is. I'm going to cover this with my binding. So when you're pushing down on the foot pedal, if you push too slowly, the machine's just going to barely start revving up and start moving, just like with a car.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that you give it enough acceleration so that as you're pushing it, your stitches look decent. And you're going to go up to this corner and go across as far as you can reach.
Okay.
Okay, now start going across. See how easy that is? There we go. Now you hit the back. So now you can hit that thread cutter if you want. There you go. So now we've tacked down our quilt. Laura, do you feel comfortable just jumping in? I've drawn the design on for you and start to quilt, or do you want to practice first?
I've never really done this before, so let me practice.
So practicing to get the motor skills and the thought process is really important to free motion quilting. So just take some time. We got our paper here.
Okay.
And Laurel has her pencil. You could maybe kind of draw the design through the paper, and it doesn't have to be exact. It's just to learn the motion so that you understand it before you start quilting. Take a piece of paper, lay it over the fabric, and just trace an outline of them so that you can understand the proportion and how far up and how far down to move.
We'll start with just that.
Yeah, okay. So just move it off to the side here and just see what I've done. So you're just going to start up there, and you just start with this one right here.
So just done
And just go up, down, up, down. It's really easy. I chose really simple, easy designs to start out with. But even the simple, basic designs like up, down movements make your quilt that much prettier.
Yeah, well, this is good for me because like I said, I've never really done this before, so
all you do.
Simple's good.
And then when you feel comfortable, then we'll just start. Yeah.
Loop, loop. Okay, I think I got a good idea.
All right, I've taken a chalk pencil, and in the star area, I thought it'd just be fun to just do a nice little long loop. One other thing I want to point out, with the hoop frame, because you have covered up most of your area, you don't know when you're going to be coming close to the end to hit it. Yeah. So we'll take a little piece of tape, move my machine down here, and we're going to mark it just inside this area. This block right here is as far as we can move. Now the front. You know that you're not going to have enough area to quilt this block here or a part of this block, okay? So we're going to have to just focus on this area up here and then we'll shift it so you can do this whole block
Okay.
all at once. So you're just going to focus on this top row, and you remember how to pull your thread up?
Yes.
Take a deep
Way.
breath.
Okay.
And start out
let's
slow,
see.
and you'll get very comfortable, and then just enjoy.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
There you go. Good job. And you don't have to stay right on the lines. Just nice and smooth. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
There's your first one.
Boom. Okay, I got this.
Yes, she do. She has it.
Okay, let's try just a little bit of this one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start right here.
Uh-huh. There you go. Nice. See, she's getting more confidence, so she's going a little faster, just like your learner's permit.
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome. Look at that. I can totally do this.
Yes, you can. We knew that all along. So now while we've got Laurel quilting, I'm going to talk to you about the different machines that this Cutie frame can accommodate. Up to a 19-inch machine. So you can put the 15M, the 15R, the 15 Pro, or the 19-inch machine on this frame. And what's nice about it is this piece right here extends out, so it can give you more quilting surface for you to quilt. Another nice feature is you can add automation to it. You are not limited to the way you want to quilt. If you are not comfortable with the free motion quilting, you can add automation and have it do the quilting for you. It's just a fabulous frame. It is for anybody and everybody. If you need a second frame and you like to quilt on the go, this is the frame for you, because you can fold it up, put it away, and store it and get it back out. If you're a seasonal quilter and you have a second home and you need a quilting frame, hey, this is good for you. Somebody who's in assisted living who wants to keep doing what they love, this is the frame for you. And you saw with Laurel, man, she's going for it. She is a quilter now. And are you liking it, Laurel?
Yeah. I just want to keep going.
Laurel has finished up everything that she could quilt and as far out as she could quilt. And so now she gets to shift the quilt to finish up the next section. So that's what we're going to do right now. When you're rolling or when you're shifting, you don't want to roll it up all the way past so that you have a space in between as you're quilting. So you want to leave a little bit of what you quilted showing. So maybe about a half an inch.
Okay.
We'll just shift it down this way. And we'll just lock it into place and you can finish up and then we'll roll it up.
Okay.
Let's lock all these in place first.
Okay.
I always like to lock these in place so I can get the wrinkles out. All right, and let's just pull this up. Kind of pull it out like that.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on. And then we'll just lock it into place. She's going to just finish this next section, and then we're going to shift it and start rolling so that she can finish this. And then I'm just going to come around here. And with your leader claws, you get a little leader to hold right here, but I'm just going to hold
Okay,
it.
I think I'll tuck it down really quick.
There you go. There you go. Nice.
Here.
Right there. There you go.
Okay. Come in and do these sections.
All right, she's just got a few more to do. And see how quickly she's mastered using her domestic machine and the design. It really does help to draw your design in your blocks. And she's mastered the foot pedal, thread cutter really well. Now you feel like you're kind of in your groove. You've got your rhythm.
Yeah,
you
just
know
keep
what you're
going.
doing. It's
Yes.
comfortable now.
Yes.
All right, what we're going to do is unclamp and we're going to adjust it so it's up just a little bit, okay? Take these off. And this cording on this leader cloth just helps to make it a little easier for you to start rolling your quilt. Let's move the machine over here and make sure that we have enough room that we can quilt this.
Okay.
And so that's what we want to do. And because when we put our clamps on, let's put this clamp on first, then let's see where it lands. Okay, that's pretty close, and we're going to hit the back there. So we don't want to, and we can't even quilt the whole design.
Okay.
So we know we've done it too far, but that's what I'll do is I'll sit there and I'll adjust one end.
Okay.
That way it's easier to line up all the way down the quilt.
Gotcha.
Okay, there we go.
So then you can
But
see.
can we? Yeah, we can. Close.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say, even just doing this little bit of section, I really like the domestic machine because I think it's a good starting point. But I find myself wishing I had a bigger throat space just because already I could have stitched maybe this whole section.
Right. We'll just put this on and pull it as we'll. So I'll just pull this section right here. And I'll let you put this one on. Quickly roll it up.
Let's pull up the chair.
Remember, we need to mark so that you don't hit the edges, okay?
Okay.
So you can take your existing piece, then let's move it down this direction. Let's figure out how far we can do it. Oh, right there, that's almost perfect. So you're just gonna stop right there, okay?
Okay.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Laurel has mastered quilting.
Yes.
So Laurel, this is your very first time machine quilting
Yes.
using the little Cutie tabletop fabric frame.
Yes.
So, was it easy?
Yes. Oh, yes. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It was super easy to get the hang of, to be able to just hook it on.
Could you go home and do it by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
If I wasn't there to coax you along
Yes.
and help you, and did you enjoy it?
Yes, I already want to keep going. I just want to keep doing the whole thing.
She's gonna keep going. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you've learned a few things and purchase your Cutie tabletop fabric frame today.
Hello.
Can you hear us, George?
We're having a hard time hearing you this time.
So can you hear us at all, George?
Now I was on mute. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to come up with another prize for the people staying on here. So
That's right.
so the point is that free motion on a regular machine. Okay, so I love what she was showing. She was showing how to practice. Okay, but when you're doing free motion on a regular machine, you are moving the fabric. That's more work. Where taking the Cutie frame, you put your machine in. We had some questions that will work with your standard domestic machine.
Yes.
You can put that on there, and now you're moving the machine, so it's more like drawing. It is definitely more like drawing, and I think it's a definite advantage, and I'm sure you can attest to that. Obviously, as the designers of this wonderful frame.
Yeah, we wanted a machine that would, or the frame that would work with not only your own domestic machine, but it would work in an area so that if you didn't have the room for a large frame, but wanted to quilt king size quilts, queen size table runners, whatever it is, that you'd have that ability even with a small footprint. And I love when you were talking about signing, I always talk about with people, like, if you think about signing your name, you move your hand this way, and that's the motion Carla's doing with the doodles, right? And that free motion fundamentals video earlier, she's saying, hey, doodle, get this practice, because that's the same thing as moving your machine around, right? And I always show people, I said, think about when you're signing, you don't move the paper as you sign. And that's what you do when you push it through that domestic machine without a frame. You're trying to do those designs by pushing it. And that's an unusual
It's unnatural.
feel. Yeah, very unnatural.
Yeah. It allows you to relax and have more consistent movements. And I was watching her as she was working with that. Being that it was her first time using the Cutie frame, she was very relaxed. As how many of our customers out there have been stressed when they're quilting, and that affects how you move it. So that's a huge benefit. The other thing is, in Southern California, always the objection is, I don't have enough room for a big frame. Okay, so you set it on a 4-foot table. You can set it where you can have it low enough to sit, which is wonderful, because often you're standing, you're fatigued, or you can have it higher. I mean, this is such a win-win for everybody. Even if I like that they mentioned, even about big frame, it is something that I think everybody should get.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the Cutie too is that it has the handles down below. They're not up here.
Okay.
And so if you have shoulder problems, because we've heard from a lot of people who have, like they've had shoulder surgery, or they're just having some arthritis or something, they can hold it down farther and not have to try and like keep that shoulder up there. They can put it down below. And my other favorite thing is, Melinda and I talk about this all the time, is that you can take the Cutie with you places. You aren't limited to your area in your house, especially in Southern California. You can put it on your patio table and quilt outside when it's a nice day. And we were talking about, who was the person you were talking about recently about taking it with them?
We have a customer that calls in from time to time. She'll order her thread, her needles, her bobbins, but her husband's, an over-the-road trucker, and she goes with him. She takes her Cutie with her, and I don't know if she's quilting, as he's driving or just when they're stopped, but she takes her Cutie with her.
Yeah, so it's portable, which, I mean, I know a lot of people take it to their guild meetings, their quilt guild meetings, and so they can put it in the backseat of the car, take it, go quilt at the church or the guild meeting, wherever they are, and then bring it back home too. So there's just so much versatility when you have the Cutie frame.
Yes.
So I know, and I'm sorry, I had to step out. My earbuds went out of power, so we're having a problem today with the reception here.
Technology, you love it when it's good, and when one thing goes wrong, it's almost like a domino effect.
What do you do? So the fact that what she was using was a foot pedal, and there's a foot pedal extension that they can work with the most machines, and so that's cool. And I know you're going to go over specials, but also some people put their own machine, but some people want their own dedicated machine to it. So we're going to talk about that shortly. But do you want to go over the specials that we have?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And we'll go ahead and put a link to our website. We have the section where we have the Cutie right there. So go ahead and post that on the comments in both Facebook and YouTube. But go ahead and let them know what the special deals we have.
So we've got the Cutie. If you're just gonna buy the Cutie, it's set with so it's $6.89 at a special price, and it includes the free motion starter kit. So some of those things that Carla talked about
in the first video.
It's got a doodle book for you. It's got fabric so that you can we have one here. We're gonna pull it out.
Great. I might buy one because I need a doodle book. I was going to buy my own doodle book, so I'm going to get this.
Yeah. So this one's all set. I'm going to open it up here and then have Melinda pull the pieces out to show.
All right. So this is the wonderful doodle book. As you can see, there's, not the doodle book, towards the end, but again, lots of encouragement, just kind of how to, it's a very well put together book, just going over the fundamentals of the free motion quilting.
Yeah, and it also tells you how to do it with the the fabric you saw on that video, she was using the leader claws. And so you can use leader claws, but you don't have to.
Yes.
But the leader claws also gives you that information as well.
And then here are the actual practice panels. So again, doodle. Doodle to your heart's desire. With the practice panels, you're developing the muscle memory. Again, it's just like as we're writing, we've been writing for how long? Since we were 3, maybe 4 years old with our crayons, and we've graduated with our tools and whatnot. But again, we can write because of that muscle memory. We can begin quilting even with just the basics and learning that muscle memory. So we have some of the practice sheets for doodling included. Here we have an awesome bundle. So the bundle includes the great or the awesome printed pattern. So you can load this on your Cutie. It has the lines. It has everything that you can follow and quilt in between the lines. Again, just continuing from your doodles, extending that to your quilting. And again, and building and enhancing the muscle memory. So again, you have the practice panel, backing and batting to begin practicing on.
So it also comes with 2 spools of thread. Now you can use these on your domestic or your long arm. And it also comes with different bobbins. So we have bobbin sizes for domestic, different bobbin domestic. So whichever kind you need, we've got all the pre-filled bobbins so that you can get started to do your free motion. It also comes with a marking tool as well as a sharpener, because who doesn't need the sharpener to get going on that?
I find, I'll think of a project and I'll go begin quilting. And then I stop midway through and it's like, okay, I need to go get this. I need to go get that. Where's my, where is this? And time and time again, even if I have the majority of my things right there ready to be used, I always forget something. So having everything all in one kit, all together, it really does help make the process more easygoing, more enjoyable, and bottom line, you're going to learn that muscle memory and begin, you're on the way of becoming a better quilter.
Perfect. Okay, so what was the sale price on that again?
So that is $6.89. So that is the Cutie plus the free motion starter kit. So that all comes together.
And we are paying the shipping, so the customer, we can ship this in the contiguous United States at no charge for shipping. So that's awesome. If they do live in Alaska or Hawaii, we'll look at the cheapest rate and we'll be partnering with them. So it won't be too much more. So that's
fantastic.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So take advantage right now. I mean, come on. It's Christmas almost. You want to get all those quilts going. I know we always talk about here about UFOs, those unfinished objects, all those quilt tops that you want to quilt, but you just haven't had a chance to get through because it takes a lot of work to push through your machine.
Either that or you're sending your quilts out to be finished and either your finisher is backed up and it's taking them time to get to your project, or just the overall cost of continuing to send those UFOs out to be quilted. Get the Cutie, get it home, use it with your domestic machine, become your own quilter, start that journey and, enjoy it. You won't be paid the money to send your quilts out to be finished. You can finish them right at home.
Yeah, and we have another fantastic deal with the Cutie right now, right? You were telling me about this one as well.
Yes, so we can have the Cutie, the retail price $8.89. Or I'm sorry, let's back up one step. I went ahead. So $7.89, that would be the Cutie and those awesome cloth leader sets that you saw in the video. That would be included in the $7.89 price.
Oh, those are great. So that cloth leader has 4 pieces. It has the back piece that has the corded you saw in the video. So it's a cord that helps getting it started rolling. It has the 2 side pieces, one on the right and one on the left. And then it also has that front piece. So you get 4 pieces with that cloth leader, usually retail about $180. So that's in that $789 price. So that one's going to be
Yes.
fantastic.
And then the third option we have today, we have the Cutie with the 5-foot light bar. So at the beginning of today's segment, one of the giveaways, we have the 10-foot light bar. For the Cutie combo, we have the 5-foot light bar. It fits perfectly over the Cutie. It's height adjustable. It still has that LED true light, so it's not going to cast shadows or anything, just providing you with that extra light. And that Cutie combo for Moore's Sewing live event is $8.99.
Wow, that's
Okay.
fantastic.
That's an awesome deal, but I have something else that I like to
Ooh.
talk about. And you both are going, oh no, what is George going to say?
No, I'm
Okay.
excited.
Don't
What
worry.
does he have? What's
Okay.
what's going
So
on?
what my experience has been is that a person starts with the Cutie frame and then they like it, but they now want to add a machine. Okay. And so then they add a machine and then they want to grow. It's great because I've seen people really get into quilting now that were always on the fence. They go to quilt shows. They're always the one back in the aisle, not taking the plunge because that's a lot. You look at those big long arms, a big commitment.
Yeah.
So what I have is I want to pop up on the screen a special combo with the Baby
Ooh.
Lock Accomplish. Okay, so this is the Cutie frame. The Accomplish is a high-speed straight stitch machine that has a large opening and a taller opening. And it's a commercial type machine, so it can take the wear and tear. It's great for piecing, but this is the package that I recommend with the Cutie frame. And we have this right now for $16.99. And so we're going to post the link up there. But if you put in notes that you saw the Grace event, you can choose either the leaders at no charge or the 5-foot light bar at no charge. So
wow.
you can just do that. And so I've got another option for you too. So let's go ahead and let's show my face again. I've got my assistant Luther here. That way it's not a talking machine. Okay, so here I am again. Okay, so you saw that deal, and that's amazing. Okay, because I think a lot of people they like their machine, they can put on there, but then maybe they want to sew while they're in process of the machine. Okay, so and let's go ahead and bring the gals from Grace back in here. Okay, there you go. We're talking together here. So here's my other thing that I do for my customers. Okay, so let's say you buy this combo with the Baby Lock Accomplish. Okay, it's natural to then, after you get better at it, want more. Okay, so if you save the box on the Baby Lock Accomplish, okay, I will give you the purchase price of the Accomplish. You just ship it back toward another one of the Grace models, the higher models that fit on there. Like we've got the 16, right? And the new 16 and then 19, right? They're going to be talking about.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Both of those fit on the Cutie, yes.
Okay, so and I've had many customers do that. So I mean, where else can you buy? Where can you buy and grow like this here? Okay, and so and if you want to, we've got our 800 number that we have going across there, or the email, and we'll do that at the end of the event as well. If you want to ask questions, call and leave a message, email, and I'll have one of my staff members that are very experienced with this call and spend time with you. But I wanted to offer that special, and if I'm in trouble for doing that, shame on me. But
no,
it's okay. This is what my customers know, that I have a nickname out here called Crazy George, and I come up with these ideas and just throw them out there. So anyway, that's
George, when we were at the Quilt Festival in Long Beach, and our booths were right next to each other, we sent you customers, your booth sent us customers for the Cutie or any of our frames. It was a great partnership, but we had that Baby Lock Accomplish on one of our Cuties, and I loved it. Out of all the domestic machines that I've used on the Cutie, hands down, that was my favorite machine. It was easy to use. It stitched very beautifully, and I loved it. It was a dream. So this combo that you're offering today, I love it. Maybe I'll be one of the callers calling in to get that combo.
Yeah, and I tell you, I've had people who do upgrade to one of your other machines, keep the Accomplish as just a high performance. It's a high speed straight stitch machine. It comes with all kinds of accessories, but this is a way that you can truly grow in your experience.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we want to remind everybody about the giveaway. We are giving away a Cutie bundle. So it's the Cutie with the bungee clips and an 8-pack of finesse thread. So we want to remind you, please put your comments and questions, share this event on Facebook and YouTube, and we will, throughout this week, George's team will look through all those comments and get a random person. So that's the way you get into the drawing, is by commenting and by liking and sharing.
Yeah.
And because we want you to be in that drawing. But if you don't, I mean, this is an opportunity. This is fantastic. All these different packages, you're not going to find them anywhere else.
Nope.
Only with More Sewing. That's the only place. So don't think like, well, I saw it there, but I'm going to go someplace else. This is the only place that you can get these packages right now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, and we will be running this. It'll be posted on Facebook and YouTube all this week. You can still do comments on it, and the specials are while supplies last. So you don't want to wait till the end of the week. Don't wake up at 3 a.m. one night and go to order and find out out of stock. So get your orders in now.
Yeah. You definitely don't want to have that buyer's remorse
FOMO,
the fear of missing out. Yeah,
I love
definitely.
it. All right. So what's next?
So next we're going to talk about our 16X Elite series. So this was just announced October 1st. So we're going to play a video that was the commercial that started it off, the whole thing. So we're going to play that really quick here. Let me get it all queued up. With our technical difficulties, we had some issues, but we're going to play it right now. So that's a super fun video we have for the 16X series. So there are 3 machines now.
Within that series.
Within this series. So it's the 16XM, which is a manual machine. So it's just like your domestic machine, but it
bigger.
doesn't have, but yeah, it's a longer throat space. It doesn't have any stitch regulation. So just like a lot of your normal domestic machines, it's a straight stitch, but it has those other things,
the bells and whistles.
Yeah, the throat lights, which are just so much fun. It also has a light. It didn't show in that video, but it has a light in the bobbin case assembly. So when you're changing out your bobbin, you can see that when you're going underneath, trying to look. So the second one is the 16X.
Yes. So the 16X, it has everything the 16M has, but it's fully regulated. So you still have your manual mode, you have a based mode, but you also have cruise and precise. So again, fully regulated options with that 16-inch throat, and really, from your domestic machine, from just what you've learned and learned to love with your machine, that 16X just takes everything one step further, helping you become a better quilter.
The other thing that both of those, actually all 3 have, is the handles that you have in the front. Usually the kind of extended handles are reserved for like a more professional machine. So if you're a shorter person like me, I can't reach the back of my machine to turn my knob for the needle to go up and down. And if you don't have that option of a push button, then what do you do? And so this has the extended reach so that you just have all the information here at your fingertips. And also on the 16X, it has that 2-inch screen that's a touch screen, and it's inside the machine, so it's not going to come off. It's not having any issues. It's really fun.
Built in. Again, everything about the series of machines we've kept the customer, the end user, at the topmost. This is who we're designing the machine for. We want everybody, to love quilting, and whether they are just getting into quilting with a 16-inch machine, or potentially they can go with a larger machine. The 16-inch, again, it's a perfect entry level into the mid and long arms. So if you've been waiting, knowing that you want a long arm machine, start with the 16. You can move up eventually, the tons of options to be able to do so. But again, it's a total game changer, just getting that stepping stone from your domestic machine into a mid or a long arm.
Yeah. And then the final one is the 16X Elite, and it has all the bells and whistles.
Yes.
It's got that fantastic 7-inch screen on the front. It's got the warning, the edge warning, so you can set it up so that if you're getting too close to the edge, it'll beep at you, or flash lights.
My favorite feature about the 16X Elite is there's a bobbin warning. Mm-hmm. So time and time again, we'll be quilting, we're totally involved in our project, and then all of a sudden we're not stitching anymore, and your stomach just drops, and it's just like closing an Excel workbook without saving it, and you've lost everything you've entered into it. That's what
my heart right there.
Yes.
It's like, what did I do?
Oh.
And I'm sure almost everybody has done it, but I'll get so involved in my quilting, and then all of a sudden I notice, well, my stitches are gone. Where did my stitches go? And then come to find out or realize I ran out of my bobbin. It's the most frustrating thing, one of the most frustrating things for me as a beginner quilter. But it has that bobbin warning, so you're entering how many yards are on your bobbin, and it will warn you before your bobbin runs out, you're going to run out of the bobbin. So, having that extra warning, that precaution, the edge warning that's built into the system, the built-in bobbin winder, that works hand in hand with your bobbin estimator. It's a whole package. Mm-hmm. It's a dream. I love the machine. Our customers, since launch, have loved the machine. We've had wonderful, wonderful feedback from people that have tried the machine, that have bought the machine, from our dealers, and it's been phenomenal. And to come in at the price points that the machine is being sold at. So it's really a dream. You'll love it. Give yourself the opportunity. Do something for you, and make that.
I want to do something for them.
Okay.
How's that? Okay, so we're going to put the link to our landing page, but wait, there's more. Okay, so what we're going to put the 800 number up there, and the 800 number, we're a small company. We do a lot of promotions out there. You see us a lot, but we're really a small company. And so, like, for example, when people respond to you from customer service, it's probably my wife, sometimes it's my daughter. And so the 800 number does go to a message, but this is the way we can get back to you. And so if you call this number, leave a message and say, I just saw the Grace presentation, then I know that, and then tell us the model you're looking at. If it's a machine, I have a special deal that Melinda wouldn't let me put up there. So that way we can express to you our specials just for you that no one else can offer. And so that's going to be on all of the Grace mid and long arm products. The Cuties, we already have a special, so you can go ahead, unless you want to talk to us, you can go ahead and click there. But don't forget to call us about this, because we'll spend time with you on your needs. And I'll clarify, my wife won't be the one calling you. She's the one that answers the customer service emails. I have a staff member by the name of Diane that really is an expert on this equipment, and she's the one that spends time. And sometimes myself, I will call as well. But this is the opportunity. So don't forget, on each of these sewing machine, all these long arm machines, call us. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm so sorry, George. I couldn't say yes that you can post those prices, but it's because they're so good. They're too good to be true.
Well, no, they are good enough to be true, because
they are good enough. That's right.
But we don't want to upset the rest of the dealers out there.
It's right.
Yes.
Yes.
That is
okay.
true.
So I think that's a better way of saying it. I understand.
So just a really quick on this 16th, I just want to remind everybody. So as you're talking to George and you're getting your fantastic things and you're thinking about what frame will fit best in your area, the 16 will fit on all of our current frames. So that's the Cutie frame, the Q-Zone hoop frame, the Q-Zone Queen, and the Continuum. So you can put that machine on any of the current frames that we have and some of our previous models. So if you have an older frame and you're thinking, oh, I've been using a domestic on there and I'm ready to upgrade, the 16 will fit on most of those.
Yes. And again, phenomenal pricing, phenomenal deals. We're just super excited. We can work with Moores and offer these to you, to their customers. So
Wonderful. So I think we have another machine to talk about, right?
Yeah. So this is the 19X Elite. It actually came out in July. And so it is a single machine. It doesn't have a whole series like the 16 does at this moment, but it's just like the 16X Elite. It's got that fantastic larger throat space and the larger screen. It's got the bobbin winder, the bobbin estimator. It's got the tutorials on it. The only thing it doesn't have is the lights. Those lights in the throat space, those are specific to the 16. But I'm going to throw up this video really quick so we can see more about that.
Perfect. I'm excited. I feel like I just watched the debut of a brand new vehicle. So I'm excited about that. So now
one thing I love, and I don't think we bring this up too often, is our education team worked very closely with our engineer team. And I think in any industry, you can always hear, a joke is an engineer can think a feature or a capability is going to be so cool, but how is it going to be practical?
Yeah.
There always seems to be that little bit of disconnect between engineers and the product. But our education team worked very closely with our engineering team, and they came up with just the layout, the design, the flow, all of those useful features that are in that 7-inch touchscreen display. And I love it. If we left it all up to our engineers, I don't know what the end product would have been, but it certainly, it certainly wouldn't be, as clear cut and precise.
I will tell you, there's been quilting frames out there that were just on the engineers, and they're no longer here anymore. So it definitely shows through everything. Even the way that, of course, the ergonomics, but how pleasing they look to the eyes. No one wants to look at an ugly machine, and these machines are beautiful. So I want to point out in that video, obviously that was not a Cutie frame, and I don't know if you were going to talk about the other frame options.
Yeah, so that was the Q-Zone hoop frame. Again, it's still a hoop style, so you can do any size quilt on it. King size, California King, because you're hooping it and rolling up like we saw in the Cutie video. It's exact same type of frame. Yes. So it's that hoop, but it's a dedicated system so that it's only about the size of a desk. So 4 feet by 4.5 feet by about 3 feet kind of space, but it's a dedicated space now.
Sure.
And so you don't have to try and switch back and forth between your sewing room and your quilting area. It's dedicated so that you're set with that. But it's a great
Yes.
frame. Again, it fits both the 16 and the 19 on it. And you have that option so you don't have to
Sure.
try and figure out, oh, well, where
Yep.
where can I go on my journey? So you can keep that same machine and move up, or you can upgrade both the machine and the frame.
And so that's one of the things that, when we contact you, we'll ask what your needs are, what room size you have, because you even have a bigger one, the continuum frame, I believe.
Yes. So the continuum frame, I would say of all of our frames, ultimately it's my favorite frame. It's the Continuum 2. It's available in 3 different sizes, 8 foot, 10 foot, or 12 foot. Now the Continuum 2, it's a different style frame than the hoop frames. It's a rolling rail frame. So again, you're loading your quilt directly on the take-up rail, draping it over the front rail. It has the easy-to-use hand-wheeled, to roll your quilt once you've completed your row. It's a very sturdy frame. And all of our machines, again, they're going to be compatible with that. And time and, we get countless phone calls from people that may have seen the frame, somewhere. Maybe a friend has it, or maybe they happened into a quilt shop and they had one. And people will call, will my machine fit? Will it work with this frame? And unfortunately, usually, oftentimes that answer would be no. Because the Continuum frame, it was designed specifically for our Cutie machines. But again, it's a very well put together frame, easy to use. It comes in those 3 sizes, so hopefully those 3 sizes are
Fit in your area.
right. Will accommodate what everyday quilters have available in their homes.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I will tell you, we'll make it very easy for our customers to move up to the machine of their dreams. We do offer interest-free financing, so that way we can do it on monthly payments that probably I will almost bet you, be less than if you sent a quilt or 2 out a month.
Oh yeah.
Which many of the customers are quilting by credit card, not by machine. So let's stop that with these bigger machines for sure. So what else is you have anything else to say? Are we wrapping it up?
Yeah. So we just want to say, so that 21X Elite machine, just like the 19 and the 16, it fits only on the Continuum frame. So whatever frame, we just want to give a couple tips of whatever machine or frame you're looking at, is to consider 1, your budget, right? Like that's a big thing to think about. 2, you want to think about your space. And 3 is what kind of quilting you're going to do. People always say, go big or go home. And we do agree with that. We want you to get whatever will fit in your space, but we also want you to not regret getting a really huge system if you're never going to quilt that often. Right. And so that's why we have all these different options and so many great, fantastic projects that you can start with whatever level you're going to be quilting at. And so think about those 3 things, right? Your budget, your space, and then what you're going to be quilting.
Perfect. Okay, so let's put up the 800 number one more time, because again, for the specials on the machines, they're better than what's on our website. Okay, so you got to call us at 1-800-865-9664. Our email, we'll put our email up there. We're flashing it down below. This is bigger so I could even see it. I'm not wearing my glasses right now. Yes, I have an AOL number. I'm old school, but I like doing this. I remember this one, but that is my email. So more so at AOL.com. Some people don't even know what AOL is. So there we go. I love that we had this opportunity to do this. I know my customers want to go take that step on that journey for quilting. It is so relaxing when you have the right equipment, when you have the right skills and practice, right? So this is really exciting. Thank you for
It's
joining
been a
us here
pleasure.
today.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
George.
We hope you welcome us back, and we can continue these conversations, and provide awesome deals for your customers, and at the end of the day, we want to help quilters elevate themselves,
That's right.
and we're hoping our products are received well by customers in all stages of their quilting, whether they're beginners or intermediate, or whether they would consider themselves a professional quilter. We have something that will work and accommodate everybody in any of those stages of their quilting experience or journey, and again, just elevate.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, well, again, I want to thank you. I want to thank my customers out there. Don't hesitate to call us or email, but also like, share, comment this next week, and then we're going to post the winners of the 3 wonderful products provided by the Grace Company. So I wish you all well. Bye-bye. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye,
George.
George.
Thank you, too.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.